Welcome to Halo Headlines.
Welcome, Spartans, to Halo Headlines for the week of the August 16th to the 22nd, part of Podcast Evolved, your home for Halo. I'm your host today, David, and with me is the one and only Mr. Oren, the man.
Hey, what's up, David?
There he is. There's a lot of stuff up because this week had some news in it, Oren. Oh boy.
Yes, this is a big episode. It's only one video we're covering, but there's a lot of info in here that we definitely need to unpack.
Oh, the guys said some stuff. They said some stuff to us for sure.
They did.
Before we delve in, I will just do some quick social stuff, guys. Absolutely, always must shout out our patrons. So these are our beautiful people over on patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved. These guys are incredible. Thank you so much for your support, guys. You keep us going. If you want to learn more, like I said, head over to patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved. We got all sorts of stuffs there. Okay, Oren, there's news. Let's do it.
There's news. So, for the past pretty much every month this year so far, 343 has issued a Inside Infinite blog on Halo Waypoint. And for August, they decided to... I don't know if they're going to do one next week, so we'll see. But at least up until now, it appears that the Inside Infinite blog came in the form of a video. And there was just kind of two sections. You had Unishek come on, and he talked with one of the multiplayer designers, which I didn't write down his name. I feel really bad now that I didn't. And they talked about
Keep talking, I'll find it.
They talked about the tech demo that took place last month with bot multiplayer, the weapon drills, and all this kind of stuff. And then there was a second part to the video where Sketch and oh my gosh, Joseph Staten. Yes, Joseph Staten talked, and they had some news and updates they wanted to share with the community. And of course, there was some good, there was some bad, and the internet blew up about it. So I'm gonna just go down the talking points as it's talked about in the video, as opposed to the hot topics versus the kind of more mild topics. So the first part. Over 1 million bot matches were played over the 3 or 4 days. Over 2 million weapon drills were completed, which I thought was insane.
That's a lot of weapon drills.
I guess you have 3 weapons or 3 drills per weapon.
The guy's name was Sam Hanshaw. He was the producer of Live Operations. That's the title.
There we go. So thank you, Sam. So Sam and Unishek, who were the two in this first section here, and they pretty much only talked about the multiplayer tech preview. And so, like I said, over 1 million bot matches, over 2 million weapon drills completed, and they talked about the learnings. They talked about some of the ways they've improved, and just their overall philosophy with this build. The kind of key 2 takeaways that I wanted to discuss is that, of course, with any sort of beta and technical preview, the reason they do this is to stress test their system, find where the weak points are, fix it so then it doesn't, we're not living with all of these complications while we're trying to play and enjoy the game when it finally comes out. So that's kind of a no-brainer. But one thing that was interesting is that with bot matches, it was 4 real players per match. And so what it allowed them is to run twice as many matches as they would have run with a regular 4v4 with 8 players. And so that they did this to kind of try to increase the capacity of how many games they can support continuously or at the same time. So then when the next tech preview comes out and they do the regular 4v4s, well, now instead of let's just say 100 bot matches at any one moment, well, now they have 50 matches because the same amount of players are being paired in half as many games, and they expect to invite more people to the previews, so they'll have more players, but maybe the same amount of matches, so to speak. So anyway, they kind of get into that a little bit, and I thought that was a very interesting perspective on how to stress test their systems and all that. So that was really cool. Another philosophy they talked about is that the reason this first tech preview was weapon drills and bot matches is because those are the two primary aspects of Halo Infinite's new onboarding player system. So when new players are coming to the Halo ecosystem, this is part of their onboarding experience. They have the weapon drills to learn the weapons. They have bot matches, and we didn't really get any sort of like learning the controls and doing like obstacle course type things that we saw in the multiplayer trailer from the kind of E3 presentation. But the philosophy that 343 wanted to have was to showcase Halo Infinite to all of these players for the first time the same way as a new player to the franchise would experience it through this onboarding process. And because typically, yes, us Halo veterans would dabble into those aspects, but the first thing I'm probably going to do when I boot up Halo Infinite is just start campaign.
Yeah, definitely.
So
like every normal person.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was interesting from just like their perspective is like, well, we have this new onboarding system. We want every player to experience it as their first experience with Halo Infinite. So that's part of the reason why they, that goes into all the other reasons they discussed. And so they touch upon that a little bit in there. And then towards the end of this section, they did talk about the next flight. They didn't give any sort of like release date or anything, but I'm gonna just throw a prediction out there that'll be maybe towards the end of August, towards the end of September or like early October is kind of my prediction. But this will focus, again, they'll have Bot Slayer 4v4, they'll have weapon drills, maybe they'll have more weapons, they didn't say. But the big news is that they're going to have 4v4 PvP, and they're also going to bring Big Team Battle, their new Big Team Battle experience, which is 12v12. So it's definitely going to be a more traditional beta in that regard, and more people are going to be invited. So if you haven't been selected, just make sure that all of your information is up to date. And if you haven't registered to be a Halo Insider, you could head over to halowaypoint.com and sign in and go to your profile, and you can click join.
I might actually do it this time. I got a little bit of FOMO from the
when the multiplayer trailer came out for E3, and it was like, we're going to do flighting, we're going to do this, like join, all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, well, you know what? I don't really want to do the flighting every single time for every single release, because like I thought about doing it for MCC, but then the more I like looked at it, I was like, you know what? I'll just do it for this, and if I'm really into it and I like really enjoy giving the feedback and being part of that development cycle, then maybe I can do it and continue it post-launch. But man, oh man, it definitely was amazing to just get in there and play it, and it feels so good. And so yeah, I'm super excited to see what the Big Team Battle experience is, and then also just to try more 4v4. Like I played I think 4 matches when they did the sort of 2-hour window there, and I got crushed like the first match, and I think I lost the second match too. But man, a lot of feels. So yeah, you can head over to Halo Waypoint to learn more. They also 343 posts a lot on their Twitter, so follow @Halo on Twitter, and you can stay up to date on all that information, and listen to the show, and we'll let you know as well. All right, so the Halo Infinite details. So then we switch over, and then we have Sketch and Joseph Staten come in. They have a little bit of back and forth about how it's been so long since the two of them kind of been in the same room together and working together, because they're Bungie veterans from Halo 3 ODST days. I mean, Joseph Staten's been there since pretty much the beginning. But
this shit on each other here is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. They got some jokes here and there. So it was pretty good, but I think they had to kind of lower the intensity as they started talking about everything, because right after that they just kind of start getting into it. They start talking about where the state of the game is at, how the teams are rolling and all that. And the kind of big thing that they say is about split screen. So they announce that multiplayer split screen, was not present during the tech preview, but it will be present at launch on console. However, multiplayer split screen on PC will not be available at launch due to complexities on the PC platform. It's the first time a Halo game for 343 is being shipped, day one on the PC platform with the console version as well. So they still need some more time to figure out some networking and other types of like coding and stuff like that.
Here's some shit on like, who plays split screen on a PC?
That
seems like a very weird
I don't know, but I can see it though. Like if say you and your brother have this PC rig and you have two controllers, why not have PC split screen? Like I always think as a PC as a personal computer, it's a one person type of a setup, but at the same time, I like, why not just have two Bluetooth controllers connected to the same computer or monitor and you play it that way. So I think it's great that and people who have situations like this are going to be able to benefit from it. Unfortunately, it's not available at launch, but yeah, I kind of that might be just coming from you and I who just aren't PC guys.
Yeah, true.
Maybe the PC split screen community is quite large with other AAA games. I don't know. But then they talked about that they already have a year-long post-launch roadmap, which is pretty standard for these large AAA games this time in the kind of current modern gaming area. And then they tie in and they right from that Joseph Staten starts talking about campaign co-op and how it's such a historic like centerpiece to the franchise. And I mean, the only game that I think of that doesn't have split screen is Halo 5, at least the first person shooters. And that received a lot of backlash back when that was released, and they just never really added that in. And so 343 said that split screen will be a thing in Halo Infinite. It's coming back. But unfortunately, in this video, they said that it will not be available at launch, which is a big bummer. I mean, granted, it's not used by every player, I would say, but definitely players who have families, players who want to have the nostalgia, or even younger generations when friends coming over to houses and stuff like that. Having that co-op experience is in that couch experience is very unique that you just don't always get with headphones and online. So
it's also a very Halo thing to be a co-op.
It is very
game,
Halo. It truly is very Halo. I mean, like my first experience with Halo was playing 4-player co-op multiplayer. And then I got into the game and got my own Xbox, or my dad got me my own Xbox, and then we started playing co-op campaign together, and then Halo 2, and so it is very much a Halo thing, and for it to not launch is just like a huge bummer. And it's just like, I mean, me personally, like I'm disappointed that like 343 is not able to hit that target, and that it's gonna be something that they just update. But at the end of the day, after everything's said and done, like if it's gonna come out before that patch or whatever, and I get to still play it and experience it with other players, like I would rather just have that, as long as the game is complete from that point of view, which is what Joseph Staten and Sketch were kind of getting at, is that they want to launch these features and these contents with the game once they are complete. And so the campaign is complete, and right now he even talks about it later in the video that the whole studio is in shutdown mode, where they're focusing on bug fixing, they're reviewing minor details within the campaign and their multiplayer, and they're very, very much in this polishing period. And they're actually doing in-person review processes now. Now that they're different COVID protocols and it's becoming safer to work together again, that they're able to do these types of review processes to really get those details figured out, so then the game, is in a very workable position for launch. So if they tell me that the game is ready to be played, it's you just can't play it with a friend, then I don't know. Like, I don't want to wait 3 months just to play the game when I'm probably going to play it by myself first anyway, just given my, personal preference. So, the crowd out there who either has family or close friends who wanted their first experience to play the game be this co-op experience, it does suck. And, but unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And 343 is trying to be big about it and being transparent. And, it's definitely a difficult decision that they had to do. So
I'm glad they've done it now and told us now, because we'll just move on and it'll just be fine. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It is all it is really, it's a bummer. Like you said, I wouldn't say it's as dramatic as a lot of the people out there that I'm seeing are treating it as. And they're really like hammering home all lessons not learned from Halo 5. I think they did. I just think this game is unlike anything they've done before. And like you said, I'd rather have that feature be done and complete at a later date than have the actual game fully delayed for another 3 months or whatever, like they said. And I like that they have a clear roadmap. They've said we have launches every 3 months or whatever is what we're doing. So you're going to get the game 3 months later. We're going to get a big update. We're going to get co-op in there. And I think that's not the end of the world. I know it's 6 months for Forge, and there's a whole segment of people bummed about that. I think that was like your next point.
And so and that was the next thing that he just really rolled right into. He was just like, Forge isn't coming, and right now they're targeting 6 months after launch, and that is huge, because the Forge community in the Halo and all Halo games have just exponentially grown ever since it was introduced in Halo 3. And I dabble in Forge. I enjoy maybe devoting time to doing like 1 or 2 maps, but then I kind of get a little burnt out of it personally. It's just not my cup of tea. But I do some dabbling. But like, there are some people out there who are hardcore with the Forge, and I mean, a lot of the community maps that we play like in multiplayer rotation that hundreds of thousands of people get to play are because those Forgers get to make it. So that is also, if even though couch co-op is like, I think, a deeper root than Forge, I feel like Forge being delayed 6 months is almost a bigger blow, because I just think the community there is just so much larger. A positive out of that, though, is that Joseph Staten said that they will have Forge specific flighting. So if you want to get involved with the kind of development and the feedback loop of the Forge, then again, be a Halo Insider and you can get signed up and you can join that community.
It also sounds like the Forge they're getting is like the most beefcake one ever. Like he did sell it as like what it's going to be is going to be incredible for that community. So it's a bummer for them. I'll say that as much. I can understand why they're angry. At the same time, I wouldn't delay the game for a Forge mode. I know that might be harsh, but I just wouldn't.
And that's just me. But like, I mean, there might be someone out there who would want to delay the game for Forge, but it's almost like, well, even if you are like a heavy duty Forger, well, when Halo Infinite comes out, then you can enjoy the multiplayer, you can enjoy the campaign, and then once the Forge update comes out, well, then now you've already put in the hours. Maybe you moved on to another game for a few months, and then it's a reason to come back. So the only other thing that I wanted to say is, there is something to be said about like how games are made today with all these live services going on, and like what the value is, buying something up front and game previews and stuff like that. And that's like, it's a huge conversation that people are having online. And what I want our listeners to just take away is that, David, you can speak for yourself, but I think you do too, really, really believe that 343 is doing what they think is right. They made the big decision to delay the game last year, and they're really committed to launching this year. And they'll make whatever sacrifices that they need to make, but that isn't them trying to take a cheap way or an easy way out of it. They just have a bar that they want to hit for us, and we just have to wait a little bit longer for these other features to hit that bar. So, David, like you mentioned, Go ahead.
Yeah, my big worry was they were going to split multiplayer and campaign altogether. So like I was genuinely worried that they would just launch a free-to-play multiplayer game this year and we wouldn't get campaign. So I am just happy that it's just the co-op side of it that's delayed. I'm just give me that campaign. That's really my takeaway.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn what's next in the Halo story. Like oh man, I'm so stoked. So that's kind of the big takeaway from the whole thing. To kind of dive through the other things that were said, which are also really important and interesting. Joseph Staten kind of confirmed that they're targeting 3 months per season, and that's kind of where we get our estimates for these additional features. So when Halo Infinite comes out this holiday, it'll launch with Season 1 and have that content. Season 2 will launch about 3 months after that, and during Season 2 will be the update for the co-op campaign experience, or and including split screen campaign experience. And then Forge is targeted to launch during Season 3, which Season 3 is going to launch about 6 months after release. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a timeline there. Joseph Staten said that these two experiences are simply not ready yet, and that they don't want to ship features that just aren't ready. They want to be transparent. So I kind of touched on that a little bit already. But then Sketch asked them, well, why not just delay the whole game? And Joseph's response was that this game, unlike any other Halo game, is a live service game where we're going to be continually updating it and tuning it every single day for the foreseeable future. It's going to be going on for a long time, and they didn't want to delay a game that will continue to evolve over time anyway for these types of features, because other features and the core of the game is already finalized. So hopefully it's just going to be a bigger, better package down the road. I already mentioned the shutdown mode that they're in right now, where they're just polishing, doing bug fixing and things like that. 343 did confirm that they're going to share more details about campaign before launch, and that a release date announcement will be coming very, very soon. I personally think it was kind of tied to Call of Duty Vanguard, which just got its release date for, I think, November 5th.
It was, yeah.
So I think now that is there, I think, Bonnie and, whoever else needs to decide that is talking with Phil, and they're looking at the Game Pass release calendar and just trying to figure out where it should go in so, it can dominate as much as it can. And the last thing they sort of said is they talked about Craig, and that Craig now has hair. So
yay!
I'm sure there'll be a great little Easter egg of the 2019 2020 Craig face somewhere in the game. But so they kind of joked and laughed about that. But that was the video. I mean, it's 28 minutes long, so I mean you can listen to it and get kind of what they said from it. Since our episode is about that long, but you kind of get our perspectives from it. And yeah, I just ask that if you are listening to this and you either know about it or you're hearing about it for the first time, is that, like, I think the important thing is to not just be like angry about it. It's okay to like disagree and have, your philosophy on what games should have. But I mean, there are some people on the internet that are just hating 343 for this, and like about it being unacceptable and all this other kind of stuff. And I mean, it's a rock and a hard place that they're kind of in, but they're trying to do the best that they can, and we just have to accept that. Or if you don't want to, then just wait till those updates come out and then play Halo Infinite, and then there's your delay that you were waiting for. That's kind of the only response I have for it. Consider the delay 6 months away. So, the only other thing for this headlines is that Gamescom is this coming week. By the time this episode comes out, I think Gamescom will be pretty much going on live. It is August 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is, I think,
6 p.m. real time. for real
6
people.
6 p.m. GMT and then 7 p.m. local time because it's in Germany. So if you're over in Germany, it'll be 7 o'clock on the 24th in the evening. So I will be at work. I think David and Aaron will be brewing a cup of coffee or a Guinness and cozying in and checking out the news. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting from an Xbox point of view. We get to see a little bit more of what's in store, maybe a few more trailers and such for things coming next year. And I think everyone's kind of raising an eyebrow if we finally get a release date. It seems like
a release date, man. I'm feeling it.
Pretty good spot in my opinion to launch the release or to announce the release date. So I'm still gonna hold my guns on November 15th. Is that Tuesday?
I hope so, because I took that day off, so that was my plan.
Or November 15th's a Monday, but November 15th's the anniversary. So if it was November 6th, I think November 16th is my...
Well, they announced it was the week before that is like their celebration week. So like the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. They had said, I can't remember, they did a name for it. But like, this is their celebration. So I assumed that the game would launch
Xbox 2020 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So I have that Monday, Tuesday off, 15th and 16th, just in case the game launches that weekend or that week. So give it to me, baby. I'm ready.
So... But that's about it.
Good stuff. So lots of news there, guys. Like we said, a good, hearty, meaty news episode for you. So once again, thank you all for listening. Join us next week on the next Halo Headlines episode. If you enjoyed the episode and are unaware, you might be, it's possible, please check out our awesome website. It's halopodcastevolve.com. It features all of our episode library for all of our different shows. So like I said, our main show, Builds of Blocks, all that kind of stuff. We have Mission Debrief and the book clubs. So they're all on there. There's also some links to happen for Will and Joss over at HCS Pro Talk. Those are the competitive Halo guys. I'm sure they have some opinions or two on the Halos. And once again, shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys so much for everything else. It's patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved. Today, I have been your host, David, and until next time, evolve.
Evolve.